Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me here.
Can you tell us about yourself and your mission behind Love Like Jace?
So my name is Makia Wallace. I've worked in corrections and my field of study is in criminal justice, but Love Like Jace was birthed after the tragedy of my son. And our mission with Love Like Jace is to bring awareness and resources to our community to advance children's safety through advocacy and community outreach.
How are you working to turn this tragedy into a message of awareness and advocacy?
So during our events that we host, my message is to families that this can happen to anyone, which is scary, but it is 100% preventable. What we offer to families in our community is resources, letting them know that information is out here to prevent tragedies such as this from happening. And there are things that we can do that this doesn't reoccur. So when we host our events, we let families know that just simple things that we can do, and kind of just my story and what I've already experienced. I just take what I have from there and help families understand why you're still holding your little one. These are things that you can do.
What inspired you to start the organization, and how do you feel your personal story is helping to share that message?
So what inspired me was the fact that it was a personal story, and I knew the light and the love that that kid, Jace, brought into my heart. And it was one of a situation that I would have never thought would be my story. However, I realized also that when I started to do research about, children hot car deaths, this was happening back in the 90s. But I didn't recall ever hearing about a story such as this. And so I realized that there wasn't anyone talking about it, about the situation. And going through it, I can understand why. It's a difference when you're talking about your child and you relive in that moment every single time. When you're hosting events and you're seeing all these kids and you're providing information to these families, but when kids are asking you, where's Jace? Or who is Jace? And, you get choked up. But I knew that it was something that needed to be talked about. And, I just want families to understand the reality of this tragedy. Again, I can't express enough, like, this doesn't have to happen. It's 100% preventable. And so, but it does require parents paying attention, communicating, caregivers paying attention and communicating. And that's literally the key to prevent this tragedy from happening.
What are some practical steps that parents and caretakers can take to ensure their children's safety, especially while transporting them?
So I always let, families, caregivers, even when I talk to, providers at daycares, it's simple things that we can do. Every one of us have either a personal item or some type of personal or important electronics that we carry on a day-to-day basis. And if it boils down to you having to take that item and placing it next to the child, to remember that this child is back there and you need to take that child out, it's important. And the fact of, we have just, people may think is silly, but a shoe. One shoe can actually save a child's life because you need that shoe. So the shoe that, either one that you can take off and put next to it, it boils down to it. Because again, it needs to be remembered that that child is back there. That child needs to come out. And that child deserves to get to and from their location safely. And so I tell parents, whatever to help you to remember that I have a child back there or a caregiver, that someone's child is back there, I need to get that child safely.
Can you share any resources or guidelines that your organization provides?
Yes, so when we have our events, we provide other information about heart car deaths, look before you lock. We also partner with other safety organizations that provides information to prevent injuries, accidents, and tragedies, concerning children. So again, we offer information, and we, host these events for families to come out to get the information, to not just hear about it, but also to apply it and continue to spread the word, continue to spread the message, get into a habit. Many people say that there's cars that now have, check your back seat. But what about children that are not driven in these newer model cars? We need not to, rely on technology. We need to get back to the basics. And it's building good habits.
You've mentioned some events. Can you talk about some of that community outreach programs that you do?
So we have had in the past three of our events. Keeping it safe during the summer has been one of the summer kickoffs, and we host it primarily like after or right before summer, but when children are exiting school year. And we also have our annual event called Fun in the Sun. And Fun in the Sun is a memorial event for Jace. It's always in September around, his tragedy date. And uh, again, it's to raise the awareness. It's also to put me in a place where, I'm not remembering what was, kind of get me out of that stuck position. And there we, it's free. It's free to the community. It's out at Lake Eola Park. We have, different organizations out there as well. Z88.3 will be out there. We have free food, games, just having this memory, just celebrating Jace's life, and also providing resources as well.
How can people in their local community get involved and support your mission?
So I'm always looking for volunteers. There's information on our website, my point of contact of information on the website, that I tell people, hey, if you want to volunteer for an upcoming event, just reach out to me. We're always looking for people to donate because we are a nonprofit organization. So a lot of our funding comes from donations. This year, our sponsors have been Safe Kids Worldwide, one of our partners, as well as the city of Orlando, and also Frozen Ice Capade Frozen Treats in Jacksonville. So, helping to either volunteer or monetarily, it helps because we're able to put these organization events together and to provide what families need. And they need to know that it's right here in our community, and we just got to take it. We got to talk about it, and we got to spread the message.
What message would you like to convey to other parents or families who may be facing similar challenges?
We all have our own experience in life, and we handle it differently. And one of the things that I can't deny is the truth of the Lord being my strength. And many days I just think of Jace. There's not a day that go by that I don't think of Jace and wonder, like, what would he be doing today? He would have turned 5 this year in December 18th. And I just often wonder, but I also know that my pain has given me a greater purpose for living. And I can remember just being in that dark place. And the more that I asked God, like, why me? Why my story? Why my baby? It was one of those, like, I would just fall deeper into this depression, either because I didn't get the answer that I was looking for, or some days I didn't get an answer at all. And so I felt the hardness of my heart. I felt the bitterness, I felt the unforgiveness and everything. And I remember one day just hearing the Lord say, in order for you to heal, you're going to have to first forgive. And I felt like it was one that he was asking something that I didn't believe that I could do. But I kept hearing love like Jace, love like Jace. And I know what that kid did in my life. I prayed for that son for 16 years. And even though I was only able to hold him for 21 months, I knew what he did in those 21 months, and he served his purpose. And until it went from asking God why to God, what do I do from here? And he said, give what was given to you. And I knew it was love. I knew it was grace, and I knew it was forgiveness. And when I begin to start praying for that young lady and her family, because we both are hurting, and one that it became a release. It really truly became a release, and this is what inspired me to just, I had a choice. Either I could have been bitter and stayed bitter from what was and what happened, or I can move forward and be better and to help other families and to give other families hope that if God did it for me, He'll definitely do it for anyone. It's going to take a place of surrender. And I, without a shadow of a doubt, I know that I'm only here today because it's been the Lord on my side.
What's next for the organization?
So Love Like Jace is wanting to just go further in different counties, sharing our story in different states. Every time I do my research on, year after year, at that time, 2020, Jace was number 22 child being left in a car. This year, as of August 25th, 20 kids have lost their life. Out of those 20 kids, 6 of them have been here in Florida. And so you often wonder, what's happening? The common denominator is these kids are losing their lives by the hands of neglectful people, parents, caregivers. And I just know that we need to talk about it more. We need to talk about it, and every parent may not be able to. Every person may not be able to replay, what they didn't do or, at that moment, what they failed to do. But we need to talk about it. We need to let people know that it's happening. But if I could just go back and remember that I didn't do this step, or I didn't communicate, or, I didn't do count after I took the kids off the bus, or whatever it is, it could also help save another child's life.
And how can the community rally around this cause?
I looked for opportunities like this from different platforms to be able to spread the message and, just talking about it. I think we talk about too many other things, too many things being aired on the radio, in stores, too many songs and everything. And when I look at it, and I'm like, people are going in and out of stores. People are going in and out of workplace. Like, I feel like the message of, look before you lock isn't being promoted. And those who have, positions to, make this change with me, I feel as though like I need their voice as well. And accountability is everything. Accountability is everything.
Is there anything else that you would like to leave with our viewers?
No, just spread the message.
Okay.
Just spread the message. Look before you lock. Look before you lock. Place the item beside the child, and, just know that they are a blessing. My son was a gift to me, and I wish the story was different. But I know that there's other parents out there that need to know that God will do it for them. He will bring them out of that dark place.
Well, thank you so much for being here and for sharing your message. Look before you lock is the message, right? Make sure that you gave some good advice. Make sure you put something that's important or something that you won't forget. Cell phone, shoe, maybe a purse, something like that in the back seat.
Yes.
There was one time I didn't always drop off my son at daycare, but then, I was going to work, and that day he was in the back seat, and then like halfway to work, I'm like, oh no, and I turn around and had to bring him back to daycare.
Yes.
So, it happens.
It does, and that's why we can't.
If you're taken out of your routine,
Yes, and that's why we can't act like it won't happen to us.
Yeah.
I tell people, I would have never thought that would be my story.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like, I'm a good mom. I make sure my son, everything that he needed for the day, person I knew, I trusted, 20-year friends. So it wasn't just like, I was neglectful on my part. Things happen, and I can't go back,
Yeah.
And I know she probably say the same thing, but what are we doing to move forward? And so this is it.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you.
Yes, thank you for having me.
If you're enjoying this show, please subscribe to our channel and follow our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter accounts.